Hey, PowerPoint, it is useless if you can't find the files that you've been working on. This training is going to show you the key to file saving and opening, creating a file structure. Hi, this is Les McCarter from Power Up Training, where my decades of experience can become your expertise for free. In the next 14 minutes, we're going to cover a variety of foundational concepts of how to file, save, and open within PowerPoint. It is going to work with any other versions of Microsoft, but we'll focus on PowerPoint. On top of those file and saving, we're going to take a look at things such as name changes, the concept of versioning files for very important projects, and we'll provide a variety of techniques of saving PowerPoint to other types of program file types, such as PDFs, for images, and just for kicks, we'll do animated GIFs. There'll be a few tricks and tips along the way. With that, you're going to find out all you need to know about saving and opening files in PowerPoint in this tutorial. So let's go power up. Let's go. I'm going to use this PowerPoint presentation as our sample file to work on. As you can see, there are many things that go beyond just save and open. If you came just to learn how to save and open, then stick around for the first 3 items. Everything else are cool, and they may enhance your future use of PowerPoint. So let's go power up. The first piece is saving. It's so easy. It's just a matter of clicking the save icon. Let's take a look. In our demo file, you can see it's just a matter of going up to the top left corner and clicking on the Save Diskette. It happens easily, and one reason is because this is an existing file that's already been named. So what happens if you have to give it a new name as you would with a brand new presentation? Let's try this out. I'm going to switch back to our working presentation. And actually, we now need to create a brand new presentation. So we'll go up to File and New and choose a blank presentation. I'm going to give it a name just so we have a placeholder for our title. I'm going to call it Our New Presentation. Now we're going to go up and we'll see at the top of the screen, we have 2 ways to do this. The little disc is now a click away. And when we click on that, it's asking us for a name because we've yet to give it a name. Previously, when we clicked on it, it just saved it. I'm going to cancel and show you the second method. You go up to File, and then you go to Save. And under Save, you then have to choose a location of where things are to go. This can prove to be trickier than it looks. Because I have Recent highlighted at the top, on the right side of my screen are recent folders that I have used. But I have other locations I could look at. I could use my OneDrive, or I could look at recent locations on my PC, or go to the traditional method of choosing Browse and go through the file system. I'm going to choose one of my recent folders, PowerPoint Saving. You can see here, I can then go into that folder and give it a brand new name. And I should pay careful attention to the folder that I save it in. At this point, I just need to go up the top left corner and hit the little disc to have it save the file as I continue to work on this project. Where to save the file goes a little beyond this specific video training session, but you need to think through your structure of how you want to organize your files to make it easier to find them in the future. If you're using Office 365 for home or for business, I highly recommend that you use Microsoft OneDrive to store your files for multiple reasons. 1, when they're stored on OneDrive, it will turn autosave on automatically, so you don't even have to worry about saving your file. Also built into OneDrive is the automatically revisioning, which means that you could conceivably go back and pull up an older version if you really messed up the file big time. And lastly, if you're working from multiple computers, say from home and from work, you're going to be able to pull those files up from any computer that you're logged in under the same Microsoft account. If you own it, use it. Next, learning how to open up specific files. When you click File and Open, you'll see that you have the ability to see your most recent presentations, which are specific files, or you can look at your recently used folders. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to go to File, I'm going to choose Open, and you're going to see that I automatically have a list of all the files that I've been working on most recently. I could choose from that, but if it turns out that I don't see the file I want, I can go into Folders, and within Folders, I can see the most recent folders that I've been working with. Often I'll have a project that might have several different versions of PowerPoint that I could then go into the folder and locate my specific file I want to use. Let's go into this folder. I've got several choices and look at the multiple versions that I have on my bullet demonstration. Select one file and bingo, off it goes. So using recent for both your presentations and your folders makes it relatively easy to locate files. But if it wasn't recent and you don't have a good file structure, Microsoft offers a glimmer of hope, but I'm often disappointed with the search feature. Let's take a look and see how it works. So back in my workspace, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go ahead and choose Open. And within Open, I see that I have the search box. You do need to make sure that you're in the right location, whether it's your PC or your OneDrive. In this case, I'm working with my OneDrive. I can go ahead and type in part of the name, and I'm in luck in this case that it's finding a lot of files. But if I've located my file in some bizarre location, it's going to be tricky or frustrating or just plain disappointing. Hey, make sure you have a good file structure to be able to locate your saved files. Okay, let's move on to some fun things, tricks. A quick way to save is to do Control S if you're saving it on your local file. Remember, OneDrive will always be auto-saving, and the Control O command will also automatically open. Let's try it out. I just did Control O, and bingo, I'm automatically in the Open File menu. In addition to just saving your file, PowerPoint gives you the ability to save as a variety of other types of file formats for use in different programs. There is the possibility to save as a template or a theme, but you do need to take a look at our other YouTube video on how to use templates and themes. Let's look at this. Under File, Save As, you're presented with dozens of different types of file extensions representing different file types. We'll look through the list and use just some of these, starting off with the most universal shared file type, which is a PDF that is used by Adobe Files. We chose the PDF. It doesn't say Adobe, but it does say PDF. I'm going to add a little extension to it of PDF, but you also see that by default, it added the .pdf for the file format, and we'll go ahead and save it. Okay, let me quickly navigate through my file system to the same folder that the original file was saved in, and there we'll see a PDF. I'll double click the file. It'll open up the associated program. In my case, I use Nitro PDF Reader, and you'll see here is an example of the file. Let's zoom out a moment and see that I can actually look at these as individual pages in a single file, and I can share it with anyone, and they don't need to have PowerPoint installed to view the contents. Let's take a look at another useful format to save your PowerPoint as, and that is as a picture, meaning that we can take each one of our slides and save them as a common JPEG, or what I prefer is the PNG, which has better fidelity. Let's try this out. Depending on which version of PowerPoint you have, the older versions will use Save As, but the Office 365 will choose Save a Copy. There you'll do the drop-down list, and as we mentioned before, I prefer to use a PNG file, not JPEG. JPEGs do lose some of the fidelity of your photos and images. We're going to choose PNG. Once again, I'm going to add an extra word on it just so we know which is which. I'll choose Save. But then it asks, do I want to save all the slides or just this one? If I want just the slide I was on and a single picture, I would choose this one. But I'm going to choose all slides, which means it's going to take the whole presentation and turn each and every slide into an individual file that's put into a subfolder. Let's go ahead and take a look at that folder. As you see, it created a folder by the name of the files, and then it put individual photos, or in this case PNGs, titled slide 1 through 15. As I click on them, you get a thumbnail preview of how they look. Our last one is going to be just for kicks, and that is taking all of our slides and saving them as an animated GIF or GIF, depending how you want to pronounce it. Meaning that when we save it, it will be a single file that will then do a display of rotating through every single slide. I'm going to do the same as before. We'll save a copy. In this case here, we're going to save it as an animated GIF, and I'll give it a new name called animated, and then we'll go ahead and save. We'll navigate through our file system. We'll find the GIF. When I click on it, you'll see that it opens up in a particular application. And now, without me touching anything, it's literally just rotating from slide to slide to slide, which is what an animated GIF or GIF is. Let's go to something a little more serious, and that's what I call versioning. This is not necessarily built into PowerPoint, although we'll see that it is part of OneDrive. What is versioning? It's saving the file under different names. You'll do a file and save as or save a copy, and then just add version 1, version 2, or version 3 at the end of each file. Why would you do this? It's if you're working on a very important project that you can't lose, or you invested a huge amount of time into something and you do not want to have the file corrupted or mess it up. What you can do is continue to save it as a version. Undo does exist, but saving as a version before you do something new or before you lose a lot of work is great to have multiple files. Just make sure that you're always working on your most recent version of the file. Name changes is literally just changing the name and keeping the same file. It's very simple with Office 365, as all you need to do is go to the top of the screen and just rename it. Let's try it out. At the top middle, I did the drop down arrow, and now I can go into the existing file name and change it in any way I wish. I'm going to add some new words at the beginning, and note that it has a new name and it is the exact same file. Very simple to do. And there it is in my file manager window. New name, saving, opening, demonstration version 1. Bingo. If you're not using Office 365 and you have an older version, then you do need to go in and do a save as. Remember to go in and delete the old file. You could also go into File Manager and rename the file, but when you do, remember that PowerPoint does not know about it. So if you look at most recent presentations, it will not show up, and it may pull up the missing file name. Missing because you renamed it. Okay, here's our last couple of tips. This is a way to modify the way that PowerPoint shows your most recent files. You can customize PowerPoint by going into the File options, and under Options, you'll need to take a look at the Save command. And within the Save command, you'll see our highlighted item number 1 to where you can change how often it saves for auto recover. That is the ability to be able to recover a file if your computer is a crash. The default is 10 minutes, and if you're paranoid, go ahead and drop it down to 5. The other thing you can change here is the default file location so that you can automatically put them in new locations. The second item that you can change under File Options is under Advanced, and there you can change the number of most recent presentations shown or recent folders. I'd like to have a longer list to be able to browse through what I most recently worked on. Let's do a quick run through because it is a little confusing at times. We'll click on File, under File, find Options, and when you're in Options, you're going to see that there are multiple categories that you work with. And within each of the categories, you then need to scroll up and down through the list. Let's go to Savings, and we'll see from there that this is where we can change the autosave and also the location of where our default files are saved. And the other one is Advanced. And in Advanced, you've got to scroll down through the list to be able to locate the display section so that you can change the number of presentations and folders that are being displayed. And that's the tutorial. Whoa. That was a lot to cover on the concept of what seems simple enough, saving and opening files, but you now know so much more. If you found this useful, Please subscribe to our channel. Subscriptions help tremendously. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You'd be surprised. Likes encourages me to make more free videos for you. If you have additional topics that you'd like for me to cover or a few questions about this video, leave them in the comments below. And if you want to become a PowerPoint power user, do look for our masterclass playlist that covers the 6 topics from the creation of a presentation all the way to standing up on stage and giving your PowerPoint presentation to a crowd successfully. Go power up.